Did you have pen licenses in primary school? Because I know you're a little bit younger than me.
We had the idea of pen licenses, but I never got one. But then no one realized. So it's like there's whatever school year you're in where pen licenses are a big deal, and then I just went into the next year because I never got one because I was just too bad at writing. And then the next year there's like, all right, get out your pens, and I was like, beat the system. You got nothing on me.
You've been living outside of the law all this time.
Exactly. Unlicensed pen user.
Oh my God, you're going to get a fine.
Yeah.
You have all your pens taken away.
All my writing up until this point is revoked.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count for anything. Jack Druce, welcome to Re-AniMates.
Thank you for having me.
So, judging by the question you asked me before we went on, I'm safe to assume that you don't know much about Jeffrey Combs.
No.
Yeah.
That's a very safe assumption.
Yes. Are you not really into horror movies?
Oh, yeah, two things. I'm not into horror movies, but also I didn't consume really any media of this time period because I didn't have TV when I was a kid. So we started watching TV when we moved to Australia in late 1999. So any TV that was airing between 91 and 99, I'm no awareness of.
Why did you not have a television?
So the story my parents tell is that it's in Canada. I'm from Canada, but that they don't have. It's not like here where there's a whole bunch of free-to-air TV. I think they just have like the national broadcaster is free, and then you have to do some kind of basic cable setup to get like anything else.
Really?
And they didn't have a lot of money back then, so they're just like, whatever. We're just not going to have TV.
Interesting.
We had a physical TV set, and we had a VHS player. So I watched Star Wars a million times, but I didn't see any stuff that was like being made in the 90s.
Yeah, interesting. Well, thinking about the stuff you've missed, but then I'm like, there's a lot of garbage at that time. You're probably off doing like really healthy things with your life.
I was just, being a kid. But I think there is something now that I get this extra little buzz from seeing stuff from that era. Like I rewatched Sopranos recently, and there's something about just the 90s-ness of it that just kind of hits me differently. It's like, oh, this is... Like, I never got much of this. This is cool.
Like, TV looks so differently now, just for so many different reasons. Not just because of, like, literally the way it looks, but also the kinds of people that are in TV shows now. Like, it feels like everyone's really attractive. There's never, like, any normal or ugly people in TV shows now. Everything's too dark. I don't know.
You know what I thought was interesting watching this, and we could probably get into this later, but I thought, like, how the sort of, like, main protagonists in it, who are, like, meant to be, kind of the good guys of the show, were very uncomplicated. They were just, like, the good guys.
Yeah.
And then they did their best, and bad stuff happened, but they sort of just overcame it. Where I feel like now it's like, even a good guy has to be some kind of anti-hero with a dark past. Or
complex.
They'd be hiding a drug addiction from the other character, or there'd be some messed up thing in their life that they were dealing with. Where they just seemed like, it's the 90s, we're doing internet shit, who cares? We'll figure it out.
It was very like black and white, good and bad.
Yeah.
Whereas now it'd be like, he's a life-saving brain surgeon, but he cheats on his wife.
Yeah.
I'm not as good at watching TV. I could watch lots of movies. I could watch 3 movies in a night.
Yeah.
But I find it really difficult to watch multiple episodes of the same show, which, from what I have looked into, seems to be quite related to ADHD. So,
okay, that's interesting.
yeah. The show in question is The Net from 1998, which is the reason it has the same title anyways, based on the 1995 Sandra Bullock movie.
I haven't seen, but I know Sam Simmons did a show based on that film. Or the show was called The Net with Sandra Bullock by Sam Simmons was like the name of the show. First we had The Net, then Nanette. That's the evolution of comedy festival shows.
And then what's next? Nets.
Yeah.
It's a show about nets.
I would love to do a show about nets.
What kind of nets?
Those big fishing nets.
Mm-hmm.
Real problematic, like trawler nets.
Yeah, and how they're always getting like boots and stuff caught in them when they're looking for fish.
Well, I try and get some money from those big fishing companies. I'll be like, guys, are these seals really that good?
Why are you trying to promote them?
I'm trying to get cash however I can get.
That's true.
Let's get bigger, worse nets. I reckon.
Let's get more complicated nets.
It's like that scene in Finding Nemo when they're all in the net. That's sad, but if you show a scene of a hungry family not getting the fish meal they hope for, that would be sad as well.
Or you could also show the nets being used in other ways, like to catch pedophiles.
Exactly.
Now it's a good net.
Imagine reeling up one of those big fish trawlers and it's jam-packed with pedophiles that were under
Squirming
the
around.
sea. We got to have a good haul today, boys.
Let me out!
Yeah.
It's the most logical way, but especially because pedophiles so often live in the sea.
They could be down there.
We don't know what's down there. That's the
We
thing.
know more about the moon.
We know more about the surface of the moon.
We've checked the moon for pedophiles. Have we done it for the Marianas Trench yet? That's what I want to know.
Sorry, this is a complete diversion, but did you used to have a bit about that weird thing that JFK says when they're going to the moon?
I never had a stand-up bit, but I think I was obsessed with it, and I spoke about it on Andy and Al's podcast.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Too, in the think tank, and then it just became an ongoing thing where they kept asking me about it when I was on the show, and we would always talk about it. But yeah, how in his famous, like, we choose to go to the moon speech is just a weird bit where he says, it's like, we go to the moon, not because it is easy, because it's hard. This is why we go to the moon and do the other thing. And then he just presses on with, just like, do the other thing? What the fuck are you talking about, JFK?
Go back.
Yeah, explain the other thing.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Yeah, so maybe he forgot what the Cold War was briefly. And he was like, we got the other thing, you know.
Oh, he was Bidening.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going downhill fast. So yes, the net. Basically, the TV show follows the same premise as the movie. There's a computer programmer. She uncovers a, quote, shadowy group of cyber terrorists who completely erase her true identity. She's falsely labeled as a criminal. She finds herself on the run, and she'll never stop until she's got her life back. Isn't that dramatic?
It's so dramatic. And it's also nice to think about how the darkness that people envisioned would come of the internet. Like, people knew there was this darkness to it, but it was always imagined in, like, this fun, exciting way. Where now we're there, and it's like, oh, yeah, the internet is horrible, but just everyone's just depressed and addicted to horrible content, and that's all that happened.
The one thing I'm noticing that's different when you see, like, these sort of dystopian films, the internet is so much... It's very grim. It's as grim, more so, than any of the films make it. But it's just so much fucking weirder.
Yeah.
Things are so weird out there, and it's just, you know, you couldn't write some of the shit that is happening out there, and it's like, maybe if it was like evil in a banal way, maybe it'd be easier to tolerate, but it's also so strange.
Yeah, if you could go to the writers of the net and be like, listen, in the future, you know that show SpongeBob that just started? There'll be a thing called memes, and it'll be like just still frames of that show, and that's how everyone will just communicate in the future. Yeah,
this show is going to become the biggest meme factory in the world.
Yeah, still images from that show, and then we'll write our own words on it, and then send those to each other, and that's communication in the future.
Yeah. And then the makers of SpongeBob, having seen the future that they are a part of, will kill themselves immediately.
Yeah.
So it was developed and co-created by the director of the original film, Irwin Winkler.
It's such a great 90s show business name as well.
Irwin Winkler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see doing a business deal at some Hollywood lot with Irvin Winkler.
Irwin Winkler from Paramount.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. You want a cigar, kid?
Absolutely. Have you seen the movie Mank?
I have not, but I have been meaning to because I love movies about old Hollywood.
Well, you would love this movie more than anything because it's like, it is so much about old Hollywood that it is totally inaccessible, and I can't imagine what the appeal of it is. It's like really well done, but it's just, Mank's like witty. He's got a lot of good quips, but all the quips are like, it's easy to write jokes in a screenplay where no one in the real world understands the context of the jokes. It's always him at like these big fancy Hollywood dinners, and he's like, I haven't seen anyone this out of sorts since the head man at MGM took a trip to Bermuda, and everyone's like, oh, good one, Mank. It's like, what does that mean? What are you talking about?
Everyone's talking about events that you don't remember, involving people that you haven't heard of, who may not have been famous enough to have spanned the test of time.
Yeah, I worked on writing on a TV show at the time that I watched it, and I watched it with a friend who also worked on writing on a TV show. And we were watching it, and we're like, we don't know what's happening. So who is this for? Like,
it is for, like, die-hard old Hollywood nerds.
Yeah, I guess so. Check out Mank, ladies and gentlemen.
The first review on IMDb is someone that says, this is my all-time favorite show.
Yep.
It is insane to think this is anyone's all-time favorite show.
Check out Breaking Bad, maybe, or something. There's other stuff going on.
Yeah, I think that maybe what they mean is, this is the last show I ever watched.
Yeah.
And before that, I'd only seen still frames behind my eyes or something.
Yeah. That'd be so upsetting to be like trying to meet new people and talk about media. But like, you watching anything good? It's like, remember The Net from 1998? Not the movie. No, you might have heard of the movie. No, the TV show version.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really into The Net.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta watch The Net. It's the best. Have you seen Game of Thrones? Nah, of course not.
It's not enough website drama. Not enough evil websites.
Although I will say, technically, I have seen more episodes of The Net than I have seen Game of Thrones. Because I have not seen any of Game of Thrones.
Right.
I'm not going to. This episode, it was directed by Oscar Costo. I didn't recognize any of his other credits. And written by Thomas E. Daniels in his one and only writing credit. So maybe he...
and done. Once you've perfected something, no need to go back.
Well, I mean, whenever I see that, I always assume that they were taking a punt at writing and then they realized it wasn't for them and they went and did something else amazing with their life.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what happened. Straight
out of the gate, I mean, it's probably pretty obvious. The show's not very good. It's pretty boring for a show of this type.
Yep.
The acting's not great. The premise is interesting.
I was interested by the premise of not so much the show, but like this episode specifically about like, I mean, I'm sure you'll explain, but this kind of, you're probably about to go into that right now.
Oh, look, I might as well. It is. That is the one thing I noticed about this episode is it's very prescient. Very accurate to the times we live in, because Jeff is actually like the first person we meet. We've got our co-lead, Jacob, who's played by Eric Samada, who's a long-time guy on CSI.
Eric Samada, long-time guy.
I've been a guy a long time. I know what I'm doing. He's this totally rad young dude with bleached hair, and he's watching Jeffrey Combs on TV, playing Max Copernicus.
Yeah.
Which is a fabulous name.
Oh, yeah.
The show doesn't explain whether or not that's his real name or a pseudonym. I like to think it's his real name.
Yeah.
And he just decided that with a name like that, he could only choose one career path, and that was conspiracy theory evangelist grifter.
The only thing I think that could have made that name better, Copernicus Max. Kind of like Pepsi Max. Like, this is the maximum...
The maximum Copernicus.
Maximum impact of Copernicus you can get.
Oh, I've never seen anyone more Copernicus than him.
Yeah.
So here's a little clip of just what Jeff's doing.
You, me, are only numbers, slaves to the faceless, nameless conspirators who would steal our identities, our very souls.
Two other dudes are also watching. They're monitoring the hits to Max's website. 16 million hits this website has gotten. So I tried to Google the difference between a hit and a visit to a website.
Right.
And I found it confusing. But that is still to hit on a website is still to go onto it, basically. It is crazy that 16 million is so much. Like,
in a time when a really limited amount of people were on the internet in any capacity.
Yeah.
Like, you had to be quite...
Everyone with the internet was on that website.
Yeah. You had to be, like, reasonably well off and spend a good amount of time dialing up and everything.
Yeah, because I think... I don't think we got a computer. I'm trying to think now. We didn't get a computer until I was in year 8, which would have been 2002, so a few years after this. It could just be, they're just playing with numbers. Something sounds big. I'm fine with it. These are like these weedy little dweebs turn out to be like our like conspiracy QAnon kind of guys. They're the faces of everything that's bad.
And yeah, as we were saying earlier, they're like straight up bad guys. Like there's no like doing it for a good cause or like doing evil, but they have a good heart or like, they're just, we're the villains of this piece. Just letting you know.
The weedy little dweebs want to capitalize on Max's popularity, which we have seen. We know that's not out of the ordinary. So we have Joseph Bottoms as Sean. He's one of the guys. For people who are listening to this and who have listened to other episodes of the podcast, this guy played Himmler in Snide and Prejudice, which is a little Jeff link. And Dion Luther as Michael. I'm probably not going to call them by those names because I've already forgotten. I'm just going to call them weedy little dweebs.
Sure.
Because they are. So it turns out our radical dude, Jacob, works with Angela, who is our main protagonist, played by Brooke Langton, who's been in a bunch of stuff, most notably, no doubt, a short film called Gentlemen Only, Ladies Forbidden, Putty McFadden licensed to golf.
That's the full title?
That's the full title.
That rocks.
And it didn't have any semicolons in there or colons. It was crazy.
I love a long, convoluted movie title.
I mean, there's a lot there. I have to assume the movie's about golf, but who the fuck is Putty McFadden?
Yeah.
Also, I think that thing, gentlemen only, ladies forbidden, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's where golf gets its name.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't even thought of it as an acronym.
Yeah.
But, no, I wouldn't think so.
No, most sports don't get their name from an acronym. That's weird.
Yeah, and most sports at their conception didn't let women participate. So it's like, by that logic, every sport would be named golf.
Well, every sport would at least have to end with LF in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, the main bad guys of the series are the Praetorians. So they're the cyber terrorists who have fucked over Angela. Praetorians. We'll call them that. But they are dweebs. Jacob wins this incredibly basic-ass, Doom-looking-ass puzzle.
Yeah.
It looks exactly like, for people who were on the internet in the late 90s, early 2000s, looks exactly like the screensaver that used to come up on Windows that looked like a brick maze. So he wins this competition. Basically, Max Copernicus has on his website, you win a competition, you get $10,000, and you get to go to his weird seminar. Yeah. Which, it's not clear what the seminar is. It seems to be just a talk. Give a bunch of money, watch me talk, read my book, whatever.
You got a flight to San Francisco to go to this thing.
Technically, well, yes, that is meant to be part of the prize. Right. But doesn't that go awry?
Absolutely.
The video chat technology in this episode is quite interesting.
Yeah.
I did not think that video chat was that advanced in 1998.
Well, it's a weird one because they're making a show in a time where the internet does exist, but they're also kind of speculating about, like, I think the premise is these are like high-level internet people who know the real secrets of the internet, so they can do this, like...
And they can mock up things that normal people can't.
Yeah, they're smart enough that they can figure out, like, live HD video chat when the technology isn't there at all for that to exist. But it's well, I guess what's funny is, like, it is fiction, but why does that... It would be like if we made a show now about... that involved the internet for some reason, but you could also like jump into the internet and like run around in there, and it's like, well, everyone uses the internet. We know you can't do that, so why are you? It's like this show isn't, when they were making it, it wasn't set in the future. Like, it's such a weird
People were
decision.
less cynical in 1998, Jack, though.
Yes.
It was, it's a simpler time. People just accepted whatever you put in a TV show.
Yeah. So
Max is having a big strop at the venue for a show. He says this, which I guess is the show telling you he's a dirtbag.
Mick Jagger gets Jerry Hall. They get girls with tape on their glasses.
Yuck.
And they cut to... they also cut to a group of, like, nice-looking women who weren't wearing glasses with tape.
They were wearing glasses with tape, and they were also
choice of
incredibly young.
Yeah,
The three women, because I don't know if they just maybe didn't have a budget for extras. The three women they cut to that he sees when he says that, not only are they normal looking, just regular, like not particularly nerdy or anything, they're also quite young. They look
absolutely.
like children, like teenagers. So gross, because he does say a couple of times in this episode, send someone to my dressing room, find me some company for this evening. So he's also one of those dudes that, like a lot of men in entertainment, fuck their fans. So even though he wins a competition, Max makes his lackey Vincent, who is Richard Ian Cox, who's like a big voice actor guy. I was looking at his IMDb. It's like overwhelmingly voice acting. So Max makes Vincent cancel the flight. But thankfully, this show was set pre 9/11. So Jacob, when he gets to the desk and is told that his flight isn't there, he just like sort of scoots behind the customer service desk and puts himself into the system with the computer.
Yeah, was he using his high-level 90s hacking skills to do that, or was he just on the usual interface of their computers? I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, because he does it very quickly. I don't think he had to hack into anything.
Right.
Which, again, I don't know how you do that. Yeah, it's meant to be indicative of like, oh, we can just do this in a minute. He can go in and just get what he wants. That's the power of hacking, baby.
Yeah, I feel like that this show could have a lot of, like after most scenes, it could just cut to the creator of the show being like, how about them computers we got now? Pretty good, right? Pretty cool.
You can do anything.
Yeah.
I'm Irvin Winkler, and I support computers. Angela meets Jacob at the airport. They're going to go scope out Max at the gig. Angela and Jacob get mugged. Despite being hugely intelligent people, apparently, They make such bad decisions in this show. Not all the time, but a series of decisions are incredibly poor on their part. Despite believing in like wide-ranging, shadowy conspiracy theories, they still go to the cops.
Yeah, yeah.
You rubes. If there is a global conspiracy, the cops are in on it. You idiots.
I also really liked when they get robbed. So they get like robbed at gunpoint. It's like a loaded gun pointed at them.
By the cabbie, yeah.
Yeah, by the taxi driver. And like the way the filmmakers portrayed this with like the choice, like the acting and the music and everything, this is like a little annoyance for them. It's like, burp, 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 and they're like, geez, now we like, what was annoying about it was that it was going to like eat up a bit more time before they get to whatever the thing they were going. Like there wasn't any like, I'm traumatized. I just had a loaded gun in my face. Like, this is the worst day of my life. And I was like, oh
that is
boy,
funny.
This is going to take another 15 minutes to get to the seminar. God
That's funny.
damn.
I didn't realize until you pointed it out that it is really a weird choice of music. It is that kind of like, dad stepped in dog poo bit of a sitcom.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. It's like someone got their new pair of shoes got a bit of scuff on them. And it's like, oh,
or they,
shucks.
they're on their way to a big job interview and a car drives past and splashes them with water and they're dirty for the job interview.
Yeah,
oh no.
yeah.
It's not a life or death situation, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
That is funny.
I don't know what else. Like, you don't want the rest of the episode to be like, Jesus Christ, what my life? What am I going to do?
Maybe they should have been.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have been. They don't have enough self-preservation in this episode. Because, again, they go to the cops. Jacob somehow managed to save a whole-ass laptop in his giant cargo pants.
Yeah.
I don't know why the robber didn't check his giant cargo pants that clearly somehow had a laptop in them. And a big 90s laptop, too. I don't mean like a little Air, Yeah,
yeah. But I feel like both cargo pants and laptops have kind of shrunk since the 90s. Like, there's a relationship between, like, data space and, like, pant pocket space.
Wow.
They've kind of synced up since that time.
Yeah, pants and computers and phones have everything's gotten smaller.
Our pants have less data now as well. Less storage capacity.
Storage, yeah. And you need to pay to upgrade them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, to add pockets to your cargo pants. Jacob gets a private audience with Max, he's just a jerk. He's kind of a dick. But he promises to get lunch with him to distract from the idea of the prize money, which was 10 grand. He clearly does not intend to give that to him. But then Max is hauled away by what is meant to look like security. But it's probably not, though. In order to, like, track them and stuff, Jacob takes one of the goons' pages, which a pager is a thing I've only ever seen in films.
Yeah, same.
I don't...
I've never known anyone who has had one.
Even when I was younger, I feel like maybe we didn't really have them in Australia? But did just, like, everyday Americans, do you think, have them in, like, 1990s? Like...
Yeah, do you think they can convey? Because it's not like getting a text. It's just like it's getting like a signal. It's like beep so and so has.
Yeah, because as far as I'm aware, you can call a beeper or a pager, and then that's how you know to call them back.
I guess so. Yeah.
I think.
I didn't.
But
do you
them. Page another pager?
I thought you had to also have a pager to be paging.
Yeah, and then you page them.
Pages be paging.
But then how do you call them? What do you call them on? Like if I page you and say, "Hey, call me," what are you going to call me on?
Like a old school phone that's connected to a wall.
Yes, but what am I going to talk to you on?
An old school phone that's connected to a wall.
Why didn't you just call me in the first place? We didn't need the pages at all.
A great point. I have no idea. I hope they make a comeback. I'm done with smartphones and social media. Yeah, send me a page.
Send me a page. Send me a telegram.
Send me a page. Send me a fax. People were happier back then.
Send me a telegram. Just have a wastrel boy come up to my house.
Yeah.
I have to give him a single coin to give me a message.
It's like obviously you got to roll with technology and stuff gets more efficient. But you think about like how, like pigeon messages and stuff. Imagine how good it would be just to getting a bird giving you a little. Like if it wasn't even something important, like you're just like hey, thinking of you. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
My friend in another kingdom, and also this bird. What a great day this is.
No, you can't ever assume that the bird approves or disapproves of the message.
That's true.
They're just the messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the romance of messaging and stuff has been taken out. Like, I loved writing letters when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because we still had that, I guess. Because I grew up in the 40s. But yeah, and I still kind of like the idea. I don't know. I mean, I know my handwriting's pretty bad because I think that's because I don't do it often. I love the idea of writing a letter and then you get one back and you get to catch up. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something nice about it.
Yeah, I just hate handwriting so much that I could never get on board with letters.
You know what you could get? Typewriter.
Yeah, that would be fun. I would love to receive a picture of like I'm in a trench somewhere and I get a picture of my best gal that I can put up on a thing somewhere. That would be a fun letter to receive.
Well, yeah, as long as it's not a Dear John letter, or in this case, a Dear Jack letter.
Yeah, yeah.
Dear Jack, I'm sleeping with our neighbor. I hope you die in the war.
I'm already in the fucking war now.
Why isn't he in the war?
Yeah. That would be my response. Not happy about this, but he should be in the war too, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's worse than fucking your friend's wife? Dodging the draft.
Yeah. What do you mean he's got a sore back? I got a sore back. I'm getting shot at here.
Oh, he's got an inner ear problem. Mate, I'm dying here.
Yeah.
All right, so they go back to the same police station that they went to before, because they're idiots. And they come across the same cop that they went to after they got mugged. The cop is like, he gets him to open up his pill bottle. He's like, open this, because he's having trouble with it. And this exchange happens, which is probably the only bit where I genuinely laughed at this. I don't even know if it was meant to be funny.
You're the fifth person tonight that's coming here with that same story. Yeah, sure, kid. Your buddy was kidnapped by a right-wing conspiracy, a left-wing conspiracy, and 3 different kinds of aliens. So, your 2 goons just don't measure up to my high standard.
Since when do you have standards?
I'm gonna cut you exactly 3 more feet of slack. Now, you want to use it to hang yourself? Better skip on out of here.
What are those pills for?
Anxiety.
Both times that Jacob has been in the cop, Angela has been at the front flirting with a motorcycle cop.
Yeah, yeah.
If you are literally on one of the wanted posters in that cop shop and you are fighting against a shadowy global conspiracy and everyone thinks you're a criminal and you're on the run for your life, why are you flirting trying to nail a cop?
Yeah, hiding in plain sight, I guess.
Yeah.
Why would a criminal do this?
Yeah, that seems like stupid behavior. Criminals aren't usually stupid.
Criminals are the smartest people I know. I'm on the record there. I respect every criminal. Quote me on that.
I'm going to take that out of context. Hey, look, some crimes are good.
Art fraud. Probably my top crime.
Train robbery.
Yep.
Especially if you steal the train.
Yeah, yeah. Take it off the tracks.
Yeah, just drive it into your house.
Yeah, yeah.
Stealing from Coles and Woolies, also fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's like a good victimless crime that's really funny? Impersonation? Is it funny to just like go up and pretend to be like the president of Heinz or something?
That's pretty funny. I didn't ever think about that being illegal, but yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, just, trying to get free beans by pretending to be the president of Heinz.
Walking into the factory.
Yeah.
I need to test the quality of our beans.
Leave me alone with the bean vat.
Yeah. My name is Mr. Hines, and I'd like to be completely alone in a huge silo full of beans.
Yeah. Something that's just like fun for you, like being like a taxidermist without a license or something. Just, relatively victimless crimes.
Yeah, that'd be good. I feel like stealing things but replacing them with identical things is a good crime.
Like what?
Well, okay, so this isn't a crime, but it's just something I always think about, and you could put this into other scenarios. There's a comedy gig where what they use as drink tokens is like these little plastic animals. So you take a little plastic animal from the green room and you take it to the bar, and that represents you getting a free drink.
Okay.
And I want to, on my own, start buying my own similar little plastic animals.
Okay.
And every time I do the gig, swapping them out with their ones. So the drink system stays exactly the same.
Yeah.
Except over time, all the animals have been switched to different animals. And I'm the only one who knows. And I feel like I'd get like a sort of sense of secret power going down to the bar and being like, I've got this little giraffe, which a year ago there weren't giraffes in circulation. But I'm like, oh, just a beer, thanks. This giraffe should do it. They don't know I bought the giraffe from home.
And, I think that's fundamental to it is the secret power.
Yeah.
Nobody else needs to know.
No one suffers. There's no crime other than I get to feel a bit kind of cheeky.
And it's not even really, it's much of a muchness, really. Like, no, it's not even probably annoying at all. It's probably just like, Oh, the tokens look different. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Something must have
no
happened to
one's
him.
upset or anything.
Yeah. So it turns out Max was kidnapped by the Praetorians, the shitty bad guys. Exposition is just so... It's, again, very black and white. It's bad and good. He... I think at one point he says, "We're the evil you preach about on your site." And I'm like... Often evil people will not admit that they are evil, because a lot of the times the most evil people think they are doing good by somebody.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think there are, like, people naturally reframe whatever's happening or whatever they're doing. They'll naturally try and put it in a context where they're somehow, like, morally righteous.
Yeah.
Or there are also, like, psychopaths where, like, good and evil and, like, hurt and feel, it just doesn't matter. It's not, like, they're just not on the scale of good and bad at all. It's just like, oh yeah, it's good and bad are the same thing, who cares? But to be like, I am evil, is like, that's not really a person.
Yeah, I mean, look, very occasionally you get people who, I mean, I saw someone on the news the other day who freely admitted to being, not the news, but online. Yeah. Who was freely admitting to being a fascist.
Right.
Because that's how they've chosen to live their life, and it ticks all the fascist boxes. So they're like, yes, I am, and I'm very proud of it because that's the way I like doing. All right. I mean, I don't think it's very good, personally. Yeah. I'll say it. I think fascism's bad.
Take that, fascists.
Losers. Bleh. They'll be so hurt. It is that thing of, like, they often will morally justify things in order to not make themselves feel bad about it. But yeah, it's very weird to just be like, yeah, we're the bad guys.
We're pretty evil.
Yeah. Pretty evil, you know. It's doing evil stuff. I mean, I know people who can be like, shit. You know, like if you've ever been in like a Daily Mail comment section.
Yeah, yeah.
Genuinely some of the worst people you've ever heard speak.
That's a good point, I think. It does, like, we view people in terms of, people often get viewed in terms of, like, good and evil, where really the spectrum is, like, dog shit and fine. Like, that's really where people sit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Most people are fine.
Well, do they ever, in the show, do they really specify... Because the other thing about just talking about how purely evil they are is it means you can kind of, as a writer, you can get away with not really delving into exactly what they're doing. Like, I felt like what they were there specific examples of, like, we're evil because we're doing X. Like, I felt like all the dialogue was like, we are a big evil corporation lurking in the shadows and we control everything. Yeah. It's like, right, but like...
But who are you?
To what end? What are you doing? Like, are you getting money somehow? Are you, like, what's happening here?
Yeah, it's not clear. I mean, most big shadowy organizations are at least functioning in some way. You know, they're either policing or they're, gathering resources or something like that. Just to be a group that somehow has this level of money and policy and esteem, without actually having like a guiding ethos is very strange.
Yeah, and like they're secretive, so it's not like they, like real life evil corporations. It's all about like appeasing stockholders. It's like, do they have like stockholders, or are they just like they're truly just this shadowy thing?
Oh, maybe they're not registered. Maybe they're not registered as a business. They don't have an ABN. So
that's
they're not
what
like
they should have delved into in the show. What is their legal business status?
They're not like a PTY Ltd. Yeah. You know, they're not registered yet. Yeah.
They should have had a 10-minute discussion about their tax structures and clients, and that's what I would have liked.
I want to see your receipts.
Yeah.
The show makes a good choice, actually, in having Max admit, at this point when he's kidnapped by the Praetorians, that his whole anti-establishment philosophy is just a grift.
We're the evil you preach against every day on your site.
How does it feel to have Satan come knocking at your door?
The conspirators who control the world from the shadows. What? Wait. This is about my website? Because if I've said anything to offend you, I'm sorry.
Truth needs no apology, Max.
The truth? No, look. You look like you've read a book or two. So between me and you, every word of it is crap. I'm a grifter. I just have a high concept con, that's all.
Sound fucking familiar? That's the thing. It's pure like Alex Jones
Yeah.
I mean, Alex Jones is probably the most successful in terms of this type of guy, but they are everywhere in different ways. They're in sort of every segment of life and popular culture. There's always these people who just farm out lies and try to promote themselves as like the voice of this thing, whether it's fitness or spirituality or food or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. I found that interesting, like that was kind of on people's minds in 1998, because it seems like such a of-the-moment thing with social media and everything. But, like, obviously, like, con men and grifters have been around forever, but they just have so much... It's so goddamn easy to be a grifter right now.
Oh, it's so easy. God, imagine the lives we could live, Jack, if we had no shame or scruples. We could be so fucking rich.
Yeah, yeah.
We could be so rich and just people begging to give us money for our bullshit. And the bullshit isn't even hard to write.
Yeah, yeah.
Think of how long it takes you to write like an hour of comedy, like good, solid jokes, clever comedy. You could spend that time writing the most nonsense screeds about the establishment and vaccines.
It would be easier to get a small following of people to think I'm God than to get a small following of people to kind of get into my comedy. I feel like that would be... I feel like that's if I pivoted slightly, get the cult going, and then once I've got them fully, like we're in some compound somewhere, then I'm like, by the way, guys, dating's weird, and then I can sort of build the material in from there.
Hey guys, what do you do for a living? Cult member. Good. Yes, that's right. That would be funny. The long game is just to get an audience for a comedy show.
Yeah, yeah, and they're all gradually becoming disillusioned. Like he's making a lot of observations recently. They're not really about the soul or initially the observations were all about like freeing us from the devil and stuff. But now he's talking a lot about like how Uber and that kind of thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he keeps trying to, point out the differences between men and women, which I mean he used to do before, but more about how we were aliens.
Yeah, yeah. There was an interesting thing with this part of the show where so when he admits that he's kind of a con man, he says that it's like there's no secret evil, whatever. It's like people like to have a reason why things aren't going their way other than just like the kind of difficult nature of life. Like people like to think there's this controlling system that's holding them down. Which is true, but then also in the show there is the real evil society that is holding them down. It was
yes,
like a
exactly.
confusing message for the show to... It's like both the good... Like you can say there are these evil entities that control a lot of the world, and that's true. And that like... And people do like a sense of structure. Even if it's not real, they like to imagine like some sentient thing pulling the strings. And that's true as well, but it's kind of weird to
have
be
both.
Doing them both in the same scene. Like...
It is weird, and I know what you mean, because it is true that like a lot of people who get into conspiracies like the idea that there's a reason that society is the way it is, because I think, no matter what kind of a person you are, left or right, etc., I think most people are fairly disillusioned with modern life.
Yeah.
Unless you're a billionaire. And there is the idea that there is one reason you can point to be like, well, this is why it is, as opposed to a bunch of reasons. But it's also weird that people who are into conspiracy theories, like really into it, they'll believe the most sort of not actually believable stuff. Very unreliable, very shady kind of like paper trail if you try to actually look into this theory. They don't really have any reason for it. It'll be some batshit insane thing, but they won't believe like real shitty things that happen.
Yeah.
Like you tell them about something like MK Ultra, which really happened, and is the kind of thing that would be a conspiracy theory if we didn't know it actually did happen. But they weren't they don't believe like genuinely shitty things that happen.
Yeah.
They prefer something that's fantastical.
Yeah, and because I guess you don't get to feel special or like above anyone else if you're just like, we all agree this thing happened. I also agree. Like you don't get anything out of that. Where if you get to be like, you're all so goddamn stupid that you believe this thing. I'm the smart one who knows that this is what's actually real. It
is a superiority thing. I have read a lot of stuff about people who have lost family members or friends or partners due to QAnon.
Yeah.
They've just, the person who's into QAnon has had this like disassociation. They've had this break from reality. Unless they can sort of get their friends or family or whatever into the fold, they just they just cut off. And then people have had to, cut off like family members or friends because it's like, well, I can't talk to you.
Yeah.
You refuse to budge on this insane theory that is ruining your life because you spend all day on the computer. And has made you even more paranoid and cynical and distrusting.
Yeah.
So the baddies are glad for Max, the Praetorians, because it was Max's sort of crazy conspiracy theory shit that allowed the mainstream to write off everything he said and therefore allowing them to, quote, hide in plain sight. So they want Max for a mouthpiece. Jacob and Angela somehow computer the security system.
That's probably what it's like. That's all that was said in the writer's room as well. It's like, all right, they computer their way in and they computer some of the guy.
They just, Jacob like attaches his computer to the security system of the house where they're keeping Max. Again, for giant, shadowy, rich, billionaire psychopaths, alarmingly easy to just get right up to the house.
Well, if you've got a computer, you know how to use it.
Well, yeah, but I always just assume, even celebrities have like, they've got the long drive and I always assume they've got like guards at the gates. I don't know.
But they haven't tangled with a 90s guy with a big cargo pants full of laptops.
Oh, I bet he's got even more laptops in there.
Yeah.
I bet he's got a laptop for every occasion.
Got 2 laptops on each pant leg.
And one, he's got a little, like a BlackBerry in the little t-shirt pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
a Discman strapped to his ankle, just in case.
They want to rescue Max because he's like Jacob's hero, which, again, like, I think if you're like a hacker, you can go one way or the other. But like idiots, again, they hail a taxi. You are on the run from a far-reaching, conspiracy-laden shadow organization. Trust no one. Have you learnt nothing from the X-Files?
Yeah.
They end up with the same cabbie that mugged them earlier. And
that's the big city for you.
The baddies get Vincent, the lackey, who he says that he's the real brains of the operation. And I don't know if that's a lie he tells in that instance or if that's true, because they don't really follow up on it. Max does finally admit to Jacob, in order to shatter his illusions, that it is all a con.
She's right. I made it up. All of it. People want to believe that there's a reason why they're held back in this life. They want to believe that there's a reason why they fail, besides their own miserable incompetence. They want to believe that it's all a conspiracy.
I'm going to take this opportunity to play a little game. If you don't mind, Jack Druce.
Go for it.
It's a game that has no name because it's been too long now and I don't want to come up with a name for it. But I'm going to give you some movie or TV show titles, and you have to tell me if they are from this actor's IMDb or I made them up.
Okay.
And the actor is Joseph Bottoms, who had the most
Joey B.
He had the most interesting IMDb of the actors in this show. He's one of the shadowy guys. Unwed father.
Unwed father. I'm gonna say you made that one up.
Nope, it's true. A teen boy impregnates his girlfriend and has to fight to get custody. It's basically, just about a teen boy who has a kid really young with his teen girlfriend, but really wants to keep it.
Yeah. It's like that. There's lots of unwed fathers. It seems funny to make it like a big, like that's the selling point of the movie. Like, you're going to want to check this out. He's a father, but he hasn't been married.
Yeah, he had a child out of wedlock.
This is crazy, this movie.
It's not that old. Like, Joseph Bottoms is not that old of an actor. Like, the premise of that seems like the kind of thing you'd watch in like the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. That would be like they've just figured out how they can like use motion pictures to teach children about family values. About
abstinence.
Yeah.
I married Wyatt Earp.
I feel like I'm guessing it would be a Western, and I feel like this actor feels like they could work in a Western, so I'm going to say real.
It is real. It stars Marie Osmond, and it's a story of some woman who married Wyatt Earp, who's a cowboy.
Yeah, right. Have you seen the movie Wyatt Earp? It's wild. It goes for so goddamn long, and it's just...
Oh, no.
I remember laughing at it so much, and I don't even remember why. But I think it's like one of the last kind of like flares of like Kevin Costner fame.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's just him as a cowboy getting into different scrapes, but over it's like a biopic where they're like, we're going to commit to doing everything this guy ever did in his life.
Oh my God. So
tedious. It's the same actor, but it's like over no age change, but it must take place over like 30 or 40 years.
Oh, okay, so it's like Walk Hard or something.
Yeah.
That
it's
sounds
wild.
Dumb. All right. Wishman.
Wishman.
Or Wishman. It's not clear.
Well, that makes me think it's real, because if it was in your mind, it would be clear. That's my guess.
Would it?
I'm going to say real.
Yes. Yes, it is. So Wishman is a genetic experiment. It's a creature condemned to spend its life in a lab. 2 employees decide it deserves freedom and escape with it. I will post a photo on the socials of this fucking thing. But
Does Joseph Bottoms play the titular Wishman?
No, unfortunately. So...
What a fun sentence to say that was.
This
Does Joseph Bottoms play the titular Wishman? I mean, no one's ever said that in history before.
Nope. A unique child delivered of a unique mother.
Yeah.
So this is the Wishman.
Hell yeah. I love the Wishman.
Doesn't that look fucked?
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, so I
Perfectly named.
I am trying very hard to find that movie.
Yeah.
Because it was just a TV movie, so I have no idea. But I'm just desperate to watch it.
Yeah.
It looks so fucking stupid. Can't wait. My Lover, the President.
I'm going to say you made that one up.
Damn it, you got me.
Yeah. Only because it seemed too... There was already the I Married Wyatt Earp one as well, and I feel like 2 ones where the title relates to your relationship with someone else would be a strange... Would be not strange, unlikely for one actor to
You're
be
thinking
both.
more about this than most people
I'm
usually
thinking
do.
of in terms of statistics, yeah.
All right, I got a smart one here. Shades of Love, make mine chartreuse.
I'm going to say real because I hope it's real.
It is.
Yeah.
I realized when I was looking at it, it seems to be a sort of, Mills and Boone, those like romance novels, cheap little romance novels. They're always, those books that are always called things like The Sheikh's Fortune or The Cowboy's Baby.
Yeah.
It seems like movie versions of that.
Right.
The premise is incredibly fucking predictable. Can true love survive 2 workaholics? For high-powered, successful executive Rosemary Michaels, her work commands her life. Until romance novelist Steve Grady, with his subtle charm and quirk humor, writes his way into her heart.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
And what was... Can you say the title again?
Sorry?
Can you say the title again?
Shades of Love, make mine chartreuse.
And I don't know if I know what chartreuse means.
It's a colour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's a type of green.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I have to assume every episode of Shades of Love is a different colour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also sounds like she's ordering a type of love in some kind of like waiter situation.
Make mine chartreuse,
Make
baby.
mine chartreuse, please.
So, yes, I'm sure that's... all right, last one. Police story, traffic violation.
I'm going to say made up, false.
You got me. All right. He is in something called Police Story, but it has nothing to do with traffic violations.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my reasoning was that I knew Police Story existed, but I thought that was like some kind of Chinese thing.
Yes, it is.
Right. Okay.
They're pretty fun films. Back to the show. So they eventually escape because the goons found Max's house. Max seems to live in the back of a church. It's not really clear why. He says something about even when you're rich, you should. Well, he says something about putting the money towards the message, which is why he doesn't live a lavish lifestyle. He's already said he's a grifter. Like we know he's not. We know it's not about the message. Anyway, it's very strange. So they get into a car accident. Max is the only one who is able to escape the car, and he just gets the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Ostensibly he's gone to get help, but he just leaves, which again, not surprising.
There's a weird bit of dialogue where it was like, how do I know you're not just going to leave? He's like, I haven't been a con man my whole life. And then he runs away and then
doesn't
someone else
come
says,
back.
Well, and then they're like, has he gone? And they're like, yeah, he's a con man. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's just such a strange, it's like you can see it sort of has the rhythms of being a joke, but not really. It's just someone, I don't know, it seemed like a weird piece
There's a
of
few
dialogue.
points like that
Yeah.
where something almost seems like a joke, but they just couldn't get there. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, like a lot of the repartee between Angela and Jacob is quite jokey. I don't imagine they're sleeping together. I imagine this is meant to be more of a brother-sister kind of deal. But again, whenever they're like joking around, it's always like sassy. They're always sassing each other. But again, none of it's interesting. It's just not terribly, it's just not terribly good. And we wrap up the show with Jacob and Angela back on video chat. Angela's commiserating him about being disappointed in his hero. And they find him on television, on I guess one of those evangelist sort of TV channels, as a Christian preacher. And it's like, look at him. He's got a new grift.
Yeah.
Religion. Am I right, gang?
Extremely heavy-handed metaphor to end the thing. It's like, still grifting, I guess you could say.
Some things are never changed.
Yeah.
Seems like he's gotten into the ultimate organized global shadowy conspiracy religion. Am I right?
It was a fun watch.
Oh, look, it's fine. I mean, what Jeff is doing is very fun. Again, as is so often the case, he's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Again, the acting was like fine.
I think my favorite bit was when they got back in the same taxi and they just knocked him out and they had a big drawer full of watches.
Because he wanted to get the watch that he stole from Jacob back. Yeah, I guess it's just showing that, crime is everywhere. From the top of the ladder, the Praetorians, the billions of dollars, to the lowly, unethical cab driver.
Yeah. Crime
from the top to the bottom. You should be afraid. You should be afraid of every car you get into.
You shouldn't ever deal with any person. In any setting.
No person, no website. Don't have friends or family.
Just video chat in 1998 using some insane website that they're on.
Yeah, so that's The Net.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Look, I'm not going to watch any more of it. Much like the Freaky Links episode with Tom Lang. It was perfectly serviceable, but I have already forgotten everything about it, even though we just spoke about it.
Yeah.
So,
if you had to speculate about the rest of The Net, the season, do you think we've seen the last of him?
Yes.
Right.
He could have easily been a recurring character where every episode they turn on the TV and he's got a new grift.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Like the next episode, like they turn it on and he's on like the home shopping channel. They turn it on, they see an ad for him as a real estate agent.
He'd be pushing like Y2K proofing, I bet. I bet that's a good episode in The Net.
Proofing for Y2K.
Yeah. Like all your computers are going to explode, so get ready.
When did the theory of Y2K come about? Because this is 98. So I don't know when the theory of Y2K started, that people were going in the year 2000. I mean, I don't know. It just seemed to sort of come out of nowhere one day, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't remember it properly. Like, I think I was too little. I just remember my dad talking about it. But I think, isn't it just that, like, the way computers were set up was to do with, like, the date going up, and something about them clicking from 1999 to 2000 was just, like, scramble their circuits and just all, like, world systems would just collapse.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, it sounded fucking dumb at the time, which is why people didn't really buy into the idea of it happening. I mean, I think it was more often used as a joke than any kind of legitimate thing that might happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fine. I mean, you'll have to talk to whoever that user was, whose favorite show of all time it is.
I would love to talk to that person about a range of subjects. I want to know what they got going on in their life.
They don't like anything else, except for The Net,
my
1998.
favorite show of all time.
I don't have any family or anything, a job. I don't have any favorite foods.
I like to imagine they're thriving. They have like a wonderful family and a great career and everything, and and people, it's just this one strange quirk they have. It's like, you just like The Net from 1998.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're a much more positive person than me, Jack.
Yeah. They've never seen the movie either, in my mind. They don't know the movie. They don't know who Sandra Bullock is. They're just like,
they don't care.
No, I'm not interested in that.
That's really sweet to have this like sort of delightfully naive person who has not seen any other media.
Yeah.
Doesn't know any of that. It's not really into movies. Not really into movies or music.
Or they've seen it all and nothing's topped The Net from 1998.
It would be amazing.
Nothing's just scratch that itch.
Yeah, it would be amazing to watch, to crawl through the entirety of human cinema.
Yeah.
And end up with The Net on top of the pile.
Yeah.
Fascinating. All right, Jack Druce, anything to plug?
No, not really. I'm making like a sketch comedy pilot thing that will be on my YouTube soon. Subscribe to my YouTube page to see the sketches I've already made and my stand-up special. If you want to do that, that'd be fun. Yeah.
What's your just search Jack Druce, I
guess,
guess, in
search
YouTube?
Jack Druce, it'll get you there.
Yeah. do you still post a lot of those sketches and stuff on your socials, or is it all YouTube?
Yeah, I'll post them wherever. So whatever you like using, follow me there, and that'll be good.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
It's a good one.
Yeah, YouTube means the most to me, but I've learned that that's a weird opinion to have, and it's people just get stuff on whatever their social media of choice is.
That's true. I mean, there's probably someone listening to this on YouTube right now, because I know a lot of people prefer YouTube for their podcasts.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I get annoyed about is with YouTube, because I never use premium, and I will never use premium. So I get a lot of ads, and that really annoys me, especially if I only want to watch a fucking 10-second show. I have to watch a 5-second ad.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It is so annoying. But again, I will never, ever pay for premium. It is criminal.
Yeah.
Speaking of YouTube, this show will be on here, and you can follow the show at other places. At ReAnimatesPod or at ReAnimatesPodcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr, obviously. Good old Tumblr. We love it there. And have a good life. Thank you, Jack.
No, thank you. That was fun.
It was fun talking to you about it. It wasn't really fun to watch.
Yeah, it wasn't a ripper, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. So not everything has to be amazing.